As opening day of the season, we have a number of injuries to the first team, and we open things with one of the teams that were promoted last season in Leicester. What could possibly go wrong? How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 10 of the Aston Villa save here on FM24. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, where we've got a Midlands double header. It's Aston Villa, obviously, versus Leicester and versus Wolves, all in the Premier League. And if you're excited to see how we do in the opening two games of the season, do not forget to leave a like on the video for me and to subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense that comes out of this face right here. Since you were last with us, nothing's happened. I literally have stopped hitting record and then I've hit it again just because I can. So we're literally exactly where we are. Go back and watch it if you didn't watch it. It was a transfer special. Much fun was had by all. The long and short of it is, this is the squad. Now, injury-wise again, Carnacetti, backup goalkeeper, out. Dalot, potentially starting right back, potentially backup right back, out. Ollie Watkins, starting striker for now, future backup striker, out. Gueye, new superstar centre-back, out. Aya, backup defensive midfielder, out. We've got Ansu Fati on the bench, so, you know, that's something good. But this is the 11 that we're going to be using against newly promoted Leicester. It is Martinez in goal, Cash, Torres, Mings and Digne in defence, Kamara, Tielemans and Douglas Luiz in the midfield, with Buendia and Ramsey supporting Diaby up front. Interesting point with the starting 11, there's not a single new player in there. That's not exactly by design. However, the main thing was squad depth, and that's what we've improved upon. On the bench, you can see we've got Kuoto, Miranda, two new fullbacks. We've got Archie Gray as a new playmaker who will eventually surpass Tielemans, I'm sure. We've got Wahi, who's going to be the new superstar striker eventually, and Ansu Fati, who's a backup, kind of cover any of these three positions. So I'm quite content. I mean, Gueye would be starting. That's something worth pointing out. That is one that we're definitely missing. So I'm not unhappy with any of that. I'm not unhappy it's an unchanged kind of starting squad from last season. But we're starting this season with Buendia, with Tyrone Mings. We didn't have those at the start of last season. We didn't have Ramsey at the start of last season either. He was also injured. So let's just see what happens. Now, I've got to give squad numbers to these two, so bear with me a moment. Could have auto-selected them, but I do love me a squad number. Right. I mean, we should be beating Leicester. I didn't see where they finished last season. I probably should have had a look. But there's still some names that we recognise from their time in the Premier League. Ricardo Pereira was a good fullback. Luke Thomas was touted for good things. Connor Cody was very successful at Wolves. And, I mean, at Everton, okay, things didn't work out brilliantly. But still, considered to be a decent centre-back. Wilfred Ndidi was considered to be a top defensive midfielder of the future. Andreas Pereira, he's a footballer. Dewsbury Hall was considered to have a good career ahead of him, and Iheanacho was at one point a Man City wonder kid who has settled into being a decent player. And I mean, on the bench, there are players. So I don't really know what to expect. We should be more than good enough to beat this Leicester side, but we're going to the King Power. It's away from home. Anything can happen, but hopefully what does happen is 3 points for Aston Villa. I am going to change these, though, because these are going to both be completely wrong. Let's have fixtures. Am I being really blind? Can I not see for looking? Latest scores, that's what I'm looking for. We're the only team who hasn't played in the league yet, as you can see. Everyone else has. At the moment, a draw would put us both mid-table. So it'll be interesting to see how we do. If Tyrone Mings had scored on the first game of the season after his horrible season last year, where he missed almost all of it, that would have been like instant good karma for Tyrone Mings. I'm gutted it didn't happen for him. I really am. Obviously, Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings both want to play on the left-hand side. It's not ideal playing both of them today. I'd rather have one of either Gueye, who I forgot we'd signed for a second, and the new guy, whose name I've completely forgotten. I would have rather have had one of those guys available, but neither of them are, because one's not signed for us yet completely, and the other one is hurt, and Kamara comes so close to breaking the deadlock there. Leicester obviously doing a very good defensive job at the moment, but we are having the chances, and if we keep having the chances, we will eventually get through there. The problem is, of course, we don't have a starting striker, and last season when we didn't have a striker, one of the players who really filled in well was Nicolo Zaniolo, who for some reason I just haven't gone with this year. I decided not to go and sign him, and when we've got money we could do that. There just wouldn't be space in the squad with Buendia being here, so I don't know. I don't know whether we would do that. I mean, Probably not at this point. If we were going to do it, we would have done it before we brought other players in. Right, Ramsey, who again, we are committing to playing in the wing because we had a look at his, oh my word, what a mistake. And Diaby, I mean, we've got to shout at him for that. We've got to shout at him, Barat. That's a huge opportunity that he has just missed. Highlighting our need for Ollie Watkins to come back. And Wahi, now he's back, needs to get, like, not fit, but not shattered, because he is absolutely shattered at the moment. Half-time 0-0. That's not a bad result, considering we're missing a striker. I'm going to... Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I said that was a good first-half performance. I think we've battered them, and I think we should be proud of that performance. It's just we can't get the ball in the back of the net. Right, well, Diaby hasn't worked. Do I go with Wahi? Or do I go with Ansu Fati? I'm tempted to gamble, you know. I'm tempted to gamble on Wahi. I'm going to gamble on Wahi. Let's pop him on and let's see what he can do. Boubacar Kamara's actually not had a great game either, but I will leave him for the time being. Let's go over to Wahi and Archie Gray and tell both of them, get out there and make a difference. We are going to put Archie Gray on for Tielemans. Tielemans didn't have a good first half. Well, I say he didn't have a good first half. It was more the fact that he was knackered because he'd obviously taken a clatter at some point. Let's demand more from the boys. We have more than enough to beat this Leicester team, but they have got momentum on their side. I mean, we won 2 trophies last year. We've got momentum on our side, for Christ's sake. So we should have more than enough to get through them. And what I am tempted to do, though, is a cheeky work ball into the box, just to see if that makes a difference. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? We are starting to run out of time here, and we are knocking on the door. Right, set piece. Douglas Luiz. Can he whip a ball into the danger area for someone to get on the end of? Pau Torres is there, and it is Pau Torres who breaks the deadlock. Our first league goal of the season. It's Douglas Luiz to Pau Torres, and it is 1-0 to us, to Aston Villa, away from home against Leicester. Get in there, boys. Get in there. He rises up. Why Buendia was highlighted as if he was going to do anything, I don't know. He's all of -5'3", so I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. I tell you what, though, bad games for Matty Cash and for Jacob Ramsey. Also, Boubacar Kamara not having a good one as well. So we will make some changes. Matty Cash can come off for Yan Quoto, who's going to cover as the backup right back for the first half of the season. He is only on a 6-month deal. I think I have already mentioned that. And Ramsey's going to come off. I'm not going to bring Lamar on. I am going to bring on Ansu Fati. Let's give him a game and let's see how he does. And then we'll save the final change. Defensively, the only thing I could probably do is put Douglas Luiz there and move the midfield around a little bit. We'll leave it for the last few minutes and just see whether we can get something going with Kamara. I'm going to try and demand more from him. Whether that will work or not, I don't know. Wahi did give the ball away there. However, we look like we're going to retain possession. We do. Right. Tyro Mings. Over to Kamara. Into Archie Gray. Gray. It's a decent pass, but Buendia nearly stuffed it up. But Gray gets the ball back. Over to Quoto now. I'm interested to see what Gray's development is like. He will be getting a lot of first-team football this year. I'm just interested to see how he plays. He's playing it quite safe at the moment. I'm not against that. Not against that at all. Right, Kamara. Looking to get it forward. Gets to Pau Torres. Keeping possession well here, but we then hoof it forward. Douglas Luiz gives the ball away. But then Kamara wins it back. Really nicely done from Kamara. Gets to Buendia into Wahi. And Wahi so close. I mean, it's offside, but imagine if he'd have put that in the back of the net. Oh, I'd have been close to being out of my seat. And you know that doesn't happen very often. Right, final change. I'm actually tempted to keep Kamara on because he has improved a little bit as the game has gone. But I'm also looking at people like Buendia and Douglas Luiz. We want to keep those guys fresh for as much of the season as we can. So I'm thinking John McGinn could come on for Emi Buendia. And then we move Ansu Fati around. And we have a McGinn-Fati wing combination because, you know, that's what the world has wanted. John McGinn on one wing, Ansu Fati on another. Crazy times that we live in. Right, it's a free kick from Luke Thomas. We're very familiar with Luke Thomas from the My Career series last year. But this is a different Luke Thomas in a different Leicester side, in a different part of the save. He's not that good at the moment. Right, ball forward. McGinn somehow gets there. Wahi now out to McGinn. McGinn doing McGinn things. Wahi gets it to Gray. Gray does really well. Goes for the world in. Imagine if he'd have put that in top bins. That would have been sensational, and I would have been so happy with it. Doesn't work out. Wahi's showing some good little movement there. Some kind of deft little touches. Looking like he'd gotten dispossessed, but actually managed to hold on to it. Some good resilience there from him, which I like to see. His rating, I think, is a bit unfair. I think he's at least a 6.7, 6.8 maybe. Right, great to Fatty. Fatty into Douglas Luiz, into Wahi. Wahi waiting for the run of Luiz. What a well-timed pass. And Elia Wahi actually gets an assist before a goal. It is 2-0. And Douglas Luiz, who, for me, was my player of the season last year. I can't remember, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've recorded this episode over 3 days. I can't remember who our player of the season last year was. Surely Douglas Luiz had to be in with a shout. And I mean, when he does things like that, goodness me. Lovely. And that will confirm 3 points for us. And that will do. No, it won't. There's a highlight. I thought I'd timed that really well then. Miranda will not get on the pitch on his debut. Wahi trying to run through there, very close to time in the run. Of course, he hasn't had any time, Wahi, with his teammates. Everything he's done has been international since he joined us. And Alex Iwobi has gone and scored. I'm a bit disappointed. We've shut off there. I've shut off. I'm going to demand more from the boys. Work a bit harder. Stop that from happening. We've shut off a little bit there. It doesn't matter, though, because we still get 3 points. It's a brave performance from Leicester. They were battered for the majority of the game, but they didn't give up. We could have been miles ahead if we had a recognised striker on who was fully fit. Wahi ended up with a really nice performance on his debut. And I will say, could have been worse. You know, we weren't at our best. We're missing players. But we did well there. 5 to 7 days for Tielemans. That is not the end of the world. I can live with that. Ended up with 4 players making their debut in that last match, which is nice to see. But we will be without Tielemans, which is fine, because I tell you what, Archie Gray did okay in that match. It wasn't spectacular. Not expecting him to be. Will we get any players back? I think Way might actually be fit for the next game. He will be. Probably will start on the bench, and we might get our new signing as well. Fingers crossed. Speaking of which, I'll be back for the Wolves game, and fingers crossed, our first game at Villa Park ends in another win. Again, fingers crossed. Well, I had absolutely no intention of making a video today. I'm actually recording this a couple of episodes after this one's been finished. I've just come to edit this one, and I had an issue with OBS where it wouldn't stop recording. I kept hitting stop recording and it wouldn't do it, so I ended up having to force close OBS, which was fun. As a result of that, the video that created to go into this video ended up coming up, and I will put a screenshot of it on the video. Came up as being 4,000 hours long. Yeah, so my editing program decided it wanted naught to do with that. So we're at the point now where I'm just going to show you the highlights of the game because there's nothing really else I can do, which is weird because obviously I'm a little bit further into the season now. So we're just going to go into it and we're just going to see what happens. A fun time was had by all, and you know, I really enjoyed this game, but it is what it is. So I'm just loading the game up now and we'll get into it. So this was the first goal. We scored it. Jacob Ramsey unlucky to be dispossessed there. Luca Digne into Wahi. Wahi very unlucky not to get a touch on it, and it's Douglas Luiz who puts it in, and it is 1-0. It's then a mistake from the Wolves defence. Luca Digne actually capitalises on it, gets to Douglas Luiz. Luiz into Archie Gray, and a lovely goal from the new boy Archie Gray. Home debut, gets a home goal. Then we're into the second half, and Wolves come forward here. Lindstrom into Cunha, and Cunha makes it 2-1. A little bit frustrated that we conceded that goal. But then we bounce back. Matty Cash gets it to Jacob Ramsey, into Douglas Luiz. Had a really good game here. Douglas Luiz into Kamara, into Gray. What a pass that is from Archie Gray. And Thomas Lemar makes it 3-1. Archie Gray having a storming performance. Starts to move off here. Gets it out wide to Matty Cash. Matty Cash lofts it into Lemar. And it's another wonderful goal from Thomas Lemar, making it 4. And that wasn't all. We have a corner from Douglas Luiz. He rips it in. Tyrone Mings is there. And I mean, I wanted him to score in the first game of the season just for a bit of kind of fun, retribution kind of stuff. Didn't quite get that, but we did get him to score in this one, the first home game of the season. And we ended things with 5-1, which was really, really lovely. Now, I think we were pretty much either like in the top 3 or 4 after these two performances. Obviously, I don't want to show you the table now because it's spoiler, but yeah, we were in and around that kind of area and things were looking really good. I mean, you can see the squad that we ended up with on the pitch there. We looked really, really solid. Archie Gray as well. What a start to life in the Premier League for him. Remember, he was the Championship Young Player of the Season. So that's something to worth bearing in mind. Now, I don't mind spoiling this because actually I think I forgot to mention it, but Archie Gray actually wins the August Young Player of the Month. Not Player of the Month, but he wins Young Player of the Month. So I think I forget to even look at that in the next episode that you'll see. But yeah, he does win that, which is quite fun. But a good performance, a good time was had by all in this one, and that did leave us near the top of the table. So that is fun. That's all really I can show you though, because I can't go back in time with a lot of the other stuff. So, but it was good. In terms of transfers, I didn't make any before this game, in between the two games for this episode. So you'll have to wait and see if we make any more. Fingers crossed we do, and we can improve the squads even more. But unfortunately, that's going to be it for this video. I'm a little bit disappointed by it because I would have liked to have shown you more, but we're just going to have to leave things there so we can move on to the next video. By the way, next video is going to be when we hit the Champions League. We're going to go into that October, November period. We're going to see if we get a big team in and around there, because the Champions League at this point hadn't been drawn. So the plan was to go around that period. There's a Spurs game in and around there we thought we might look at, possibly, maybe an Everton game. So we'll see what comes up. Obviously, I know what comes up. I've already recorded it, and I want to go and edit it after I've edited this one. So we'll see what happens. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Apologies again for the editing issue. But if you have enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like on the video for me and to subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense that comes out of this face in the future. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome, and I will see you next time. Cheers.